All right, guys. Another guest interview for us today is Donny Macaluso. Donny is a freshman at Fairfield U, and he played on the 2019 Eclipse team and also at Staples High School. Donny, thanks for joining us.
How we doing? Glad to be here.
Yeah, all good. Just want to start off talking about kind of your experience with Eclipse and what that was like, and your process and what were the best parts about being part of Eclipse.
Yeah, so love being a part of the team. I was a little bit late to the show. I didn't start playing club lacrosse until freshman year of high school, and I started with another program and then didn't make my way over to Eclipse till sophomore year, but I'm really glad that I did. All the experiences were really positive. Best competition in the country, and all those tournaments we put in, all the guys from around the FCAC and New York, other places were awesome to play with, and we had a really good team.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting, hearing about, that you didn't even start playing club lacrosse till later on. I know kind of the mindset is now is like you got to start playing youth lacrosse when you're in kindergarten, otherwise you're not going to make it, or you got to get onto the club lacrosse right off the bat. But you were a guy that joined later and kind of developed along the way, and even started playing lacrosse I think a little bit later. Is that true?
Yeah, so I dabbled in lacrosse a little bit in like fourth grade for the youth program. Wasn't the best, kind of didn't like, I don't know, just everyone was kind of ahead of me a little bit, so I went back to baseball for fifth grade. Went back to lacrosse in sixth grade, played sixth, seventh grade, and then eighth grade was when I really started to like it, really started to kind of grow as a player. And then freshman year, I was on the high school team and then decided to go off for a club team.
Yeah, that's great. So, and then, you feel joining into the club experience helped, push your game to the next level and help get you prepared to play at the next level.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously, kind of for me, after freshman year, the mindset was that I really wanted to play in college. It was something that I really wanted to do. But initially going in, I wasn't sure if I was the type of player who would be able to do that. And by playing club with the Clips, it really showed me that, I could, this is something that I could do. I can compete with the best players in the country and play at the next level.
Yeah, for sure. And what was that transition like going from high school lacrosse to college lacrosse? That's a question I think a lot of guys in high school right now are wondering, like, well, what's different about college lacrosse than high school lacrosse? And you just, getting, let's say half a season this year, getting canceled because of COVID. But what was that transition like going from high school to college?
The transition for me was pretty good. I think the biggest thing is, or the two biggest things, in my opinion, one, just the speed overall. It's a lot more of a fast-paced game, a lot more transition play, everything like that. Every player, their stick skills are just as good as everyone else. Versus high school, I mean, yeah, you're going to have guys who are all on a high level playing, like in the FCAC that we played in. But, I mean, there's always a couple guys or a couple different teams that, were a little bit lower level. Everyone in college is pretty much the same. So that's one of the things that I noticed right away. And another thing is like the size difference. And that's something that I thought I handled pretty well. And basically just athleticism. Kind of everyone's a lot stronger and faster.
Yeah. So, thinking about that, you get to college and it's faster and the guys are bigger and guys are stronger. I coached you in high school last season, and, I know you're one of the hardest working guys. And where do you get that motivation from? Like, what do you have? What do you think about to yourself? Where do you get that motivation to work your hardest from?
Honestly, ever since I was a kid, I always just kind of like whatever I was doing, I kind of want to be the best at that moment. So I would just always drive myself to, work hard and also just have fun doing it. Like lacrosse to me is like, it's fun. A lot of people kind of, especially like once you get into the higher levels, I mean, I feel like for a lot of people, the fun part starts to go away. And I like to keep it as something that's fun that I like to do, and I like to compete, and I have fun competing. So I think that's honestly what drives me the most.
Yeah, it makes it a little easier to work that hard when you're enjoying it so much. That's that's a great point. Um, next thing I wanted to talk about with you is kind of your experience playing box lacrosse, right? I know you played this past summer in the CTBLL. I know we did some box lacrosse stuff at Staples. How has box lacrosse influenced your game? And I know a lot of our Eclipse guys coming up our pipeline in the youth program. That's what our winter training is box lacrosse, and we've as coaching staff have found a lot of value in that. But to hear from you as a guy who's now playing college lacrosse, how did box lacrosse impact your game and help you along the way?
Well, first of all, box, the first thing I noticed, I mean, yeah, you're going to do like a lot of the initial like box drills, like in the winter inside in the field house, wherever you're doing it. But once you get in a real rink and you play real box, it's a totally different level. Like in the CTBLL, we're playing in a regulation rink, 5-on-5. And the biggest thing with that, honestly, is probably stick skills, footwork, and just scrappiness. You get like in there, you got to be willing to, put your head down, go through a ground ball. And, it's just a different level. I mean, it's a lot faster, and it's just toughness, honestly.
And how does that help you as you transition then to outdoor lacrosse, full field lacrosse? How does that box lacrosse toughness and grittiness and all that skill work you do in box lacrosse, how does that translate into field lacrosse?
I think it translates a lot. Like as a defenseman, I think obviously for an offensive player, it's really good for them to be playing in tight, everything, all the different types of passes, behind the back passes that you incorporate in the box game. But as a defender, I feel like playing with a short stick and getting your footwork down is one big thing. You make a lot of more contact with, like pushing on the hips and box and stuff like that. And for the ground ball aspect of the game, there's a ton of ground balls in box, and I even ended up taking a lot of face-offs in box. And so that really helps, especially with a pull. I mean, having those in tight scenarios where you got 2-3 guys on you, getting the ball up and out quick. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome that you can, use the indoor game to help your outdoor game and probably vice versa for those guys. So last question I got for you is, you've gone through the club process, the youth lacrosse process, the high school process, you're, in the college game now. If you could go back and talk to yourself when you were like 10 or 12 years old and, say, hey, Donnie, this is what you need to know. This is the one thing, don't forget this. It's going to help you get where you want to get someday. What would that piece of advice be?
For 10 or 12-year-old me, I think I'd say hit the wall and just have fun with it. Make sure you're always having fun with it. If you're not having fun, it's going to be a lot harder for you. And if you can make it fun for yourself, it'll become a lot better.
That's great, man. Thank you very much for jumping on here and talking to us today. Being right up the road at Fairfield U, it's awesome that our Eclipse guys can get up there and check you out and watch you play. I know you were getting some time. You were on the field this spring as a freshman. It was pretty awesome. So keep up the good work, tear it up, keep representing Eclipse, and we're definitely proud of you.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
Glad to be on. Have a good one.
See ya.